This is Rostra, the St. Theodore Guerin Junior Classical League podcast, where we bring the lessons of classical study into the light for the benefit of all. So welcome to this episode of Rostra. We've got JC Klink with us today. JC is one of our second-year Latin students here at Guerin Catholic High School. And JC, you've got kind of a violent topic that you're talking about today. So what is your topic?
The assassination of Julius Caesar.
The assassination of Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I think if there's anything people know about the ancient world, even people who don't take Latin or whatever, they've heard about Julius Caesar, right? This is just a name that everybody knows. And I think a lot of people know that he didn't die of natural causes, right?
Yeah.
So,
I'd say, some stabbing isn't.
Stabbing is really not so much a natural cause.
Yeah.
So, first of all, why did you pick that topic?
So, honestly, I think it's just the fact that the circumstances of his assassination have always been very interesting to me, because I've never really known the full details of why was he assassinated. So I think that's really one of the biggest reasons, and also just because, come on, the assassination of a huge political leader in history, I think that's funny for some reason in my mind.
Okay, so we probably are going to want to edit out of this show the fact that you just said that is funny.
It's a joke.
But no, it's obviously it's just not a normal thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you get angry at political people, you bash them in the newspaper, but you don't typically go and stab them to death, right?
Go.
So you said you didn't know about the background or the circumstances of it, and I introduced you as being a second-year Latin student. This is something that we will get into in class later this year, but obviously at this point you haven't covered that yet. So what did you find out? What were some of the cool things or interesting things, we should say maybe, about this?
So, as far as the reasoning behind his assassination, so he was assassinated by a bunch of senators. So, as it turns out, they actually kind of resented his popularity. And so they just were like, yeah, we don't like that. So maybe not. Because he was a really successful, military leader, as well as just a really good dictator in Rome at the time. Because he, expanded the Republic to be, including parts of what is now Spain, France, Germany, Switzerland, and Belgium.
And there's a little bell there, so as part of recording during the school days, so we had a little bell there. But so you said you expanded. I want to go back to a phrase you just used. You said, he's a really good military leader, and you said, and a good dictator. And I think some people might hear that and go, wait a minute, isn't that a contradiction in terms? Because I think you hear the word dictator today, and let's be honest, you think of an Adolf Hitler, right? You think of a Mussolini. And those names are just already in history as really bad characters. I wouldn't disagree with what you said. I think a lot of people in the time saw Caesar as a pretty good guy. A lot of the citizens saw Caesar as a good guy. They liked what he did for them. So, I think, but why then did the senators see him as a threat or a bad guy?
They really did not like his... They really did not like just his arrogance and how popular he was with everyone. Because he was think modern day celebrities and kind of amp it up to an 11, as I would imagine.
Yeah.
So it's just they really did not appreciate how popular he was. So they just were we don't like this.
Yeah.
You're also kind of arrogant.
Yeah.
Let's just not deal with that anymore.
Yeah, well, and he wasn't just kind of arrogant. And that's something we're going to find out, I think.
Weenie Weeky, I guess.
Well, exactly. Weenie Weeky. And that shows, boy, this guy's got the big head. So we're certainly going to talk about that in upper levels as well. So, popular guy among the people. Senators don't like him because he's arrogant. And also, we got to throw in there, they were concerned that he was going to be another king. The Romans had thrown out the kings about 500 years before, and so they were afraid, right, he's going to turn into another king. Yep. So, all right, why not just say, hey, Caesar, let's just send you on a mission to the Far East here and get you out of Rome. Why move to assassination, do you think?
Personally, I believe that the reason why they wouldn't have done something like that is because since he was such a successful military leader, he probably would have been like, okay, mission done. All right, I'm back. Let's do that. Let's get going with this. And it just wouldn't have worked out. So they just decided, we got no other choices, so I guess we kind of have to do this now.
Yeah.
And so they just kind of, here's what I find interesting.
Yes.
So 60 senators, around as many as 60 senators, are believed to have agreed to stab him and assassinate him. And so a lot of people that I've met have said, that was the last time that everybody in a group project did their part. But that is incorrect, because even then they didn't all do their part, because he only had 23 stab wounds. So how do you get 60 people to agree to do something, but then only 23 stab wounds?
It just shows you, right, that some people just don't honor their commitments, right?
Exactly. You just...
But you bring up a good point. I mean, the fact that you got 60 of Rome's senators who, this is the governing body, leaders of Rome, who agreed, this guy is enough of a threat, we think, that we've got to take some sort of drastic action. So take us into, let's just be honest, the bloody details. What actually went down with this assassination?
So they were actually at a Senate meeting at the time. It was in the Curia of Pompeii, which is inside the Largo di Torre Argentina. So they were just having a Senate meeting, and they just kind of took a dagger.
Yeah.
A bunch of daggers, and just kind of assassinated the guy.
Yeah. And of course, this is a podcast, so our listeners can't see this, but you actually are holding a Roman pugio,
lovely
which is a Roman dagger here. So it's a small blade, but
kept at the school.
Let's be honest. Well, you're right. We've got a couple of Roman soldiers in our classroom here, decked out in authentic Roman armor. So let's be honest. You get 23 of those things stuck in you. You're not coming back from that.
No, yeah, bleeding out may be kind of a natural cause, but I don't think daggers are.
Yeah, right.
So.
and again, at some point, we're going to get into this in our class. We're going to get into some particularly poignant details about that. What was the reaction after the assassination, either by other senators or by the people at large?
So, by the people at large, a lot of the Romans actually kind of hated the senators. And actually, his son, Octavian, took over afterwards, but took on the name Augustus Caesar. Mm-hmm. And that is actually the start of the empire. And that's when it changed from republic to empire. And so people were just they did not like the senators afterwards. So that was just kind of the reaction that was had.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, and I appreciate you said a couple things there. You mentioned his son, Octavian, who was actually his nephew that he adopted as his son because he didn't have any sons of his own. But I really like the fact that you mentioned that Octavian became the first Roman emperor. And I think that's something that a lot of people misunderstand. They think Julius Caesar was an emperor. He wasn't, right? He was assassinated before the empire began. Yep. And I don't know, in your research, did you find out the date or the year of his assassination?
The year of his assassination, actually the date, as we know it, is March 15th of 44 BC.
March 15th, 44 BC, and the day has gone down. We refer to it as the Ides of March, which is a particular day on the Roman calendar, and that's 44 BC. Well, historians say that the Roman Empire began, they kind of dispute the date, either 31 or 27 BC. Either way, though, that date is after 44. So clearly Julius Caesar was not an emperor. So there is that. So obviously, we're not, I'm assuming on your behalf, I suppose, that we're not condoning political murder, right? We're not condoning or endorsing something like that. We
don't do that. We bash figures online.
Well, and let's be honest. In a more, we like to think, in a more civilized age, we don't engage in that kind of in that kind of violence.
Not actually, no.
That having been said, what is your take on this? Now, and here's what I'm asking. Do you think that he should have been removed from power or not? I mean, we're not saying necessarily by murder, but do you think he should have been allowed to continue based on what you have read? Or do you think, he really did need to go, perhaps just not in such a violent way?
I think, in my opinion, there could have been kind of an in-between. So I think they could have let him kind of carry on at first, but say if we noticed anything that could show signs of him starting to become more of a king, or just starting to do more problematic things, then you would take him out of power. Then I would find that good reasoning, but let's not assassinate him.
Not assassinate the guy.
I'd say just take the dude out of power and get him out of there.
Okay, and so basically what I hear in what you said was let him carry on, and basically you're saying, carry on, my wayward son. So,
yes, I love, oh my gosh, my band is doing that song.
There it is. Well, JC, thank you for being on this episode of Rostra with us. Is there any other details or things that you found out that you really want to share before we close out?
I do not think so, nope.
All right, that sounds fantastic. Well, JC, thank you for your time, and I think everybody's going to enjoy this episode very much.
Awesome. I hope they do.
Thank you for listening to Rostra. You may check out all our episodes on Spotify and follow us on social media at GuerinJCL. That's at GuerinJCL.